morning, everyone. It's time to go on the record.
A ban on Muslims would not have stopped this attack. Neither would a wall.
The massacre in Orlando draws many contrasts on the presidential campaign trail.
We have to build safe zones over there. We have to get the Gulf states to pay for it.
Trump is still talking about building walls, publicly standing by the Second Amendment while suggesting some gun sale changes.
It's time for us to just stop here. It's time for us to start to do the right thing.
In Congress, fed-up Senators Markey and Warren filibuster for a gun control debate and vote. And with a gaping revenue shortfall, House Speaker Robert DeLeo putting the brakes on the final state budget. He is our guest on OTR this morning.
From WCPB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill, today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day. Welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding, along with Newseta 5's Janet Wu, our political reporter. Great to have you with us. And our guest this morning is Beacon Hill power player, House Speaker Robert DeLeo. Much to discuss, but first of all, not only Happy Father's Day, but Happy Grandfather's Day. I mean, this is your first grandfather Father's
Day,
right?
That's right, and I'm extremely excited about that.
And your granddaughter's name is?
Autumn.
Autumn. And by the way, Autumn owns him. Owns him.
I can't deny that.
Great to have you with us.
Nice to see
Happy Father's Day to both of you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the House is now being dragged into a federal investigation of a state's senator. It's a senator. Your chamber, however, has gotten subpoenas, and it's because of Senator Brian Joyce. So what do you tell your members, and how do you get business moving without this becoming a major distraction, which it has been to a certain degree, no?
I think any time that you have that cloud over the State House, I think there is some distraction, so to speak. But I'd have to say that I think we've been fortunate enough in terms of not only the House, I believe the Senate as well, that we've been able to operate with business as usual. I think no matter how difficult it may be to put these types of things out of your mind, I think most importantly, we're there to do the people's business. I think we've got some very important legislation that we have to take up. So I've been generally pleased at the pace and the ability of members to focus on the subject matters at hand.
Do you get the sense that this is going to drag on for a little while, that this cloud's going to be sort of sitting over Beacon Hill for not just a few more weeks or even necessarily a few more months?
I think it could. Any type of investigation of this sort, obviously with requests for records, they're still delving into various issues which may be of interest to them. And the senator decided not to run for re-election.
But he's still there. Should he resign before the end of this term?
I leave that up to the Senate President and the senators to decide that.
Let's talk about gun control. And as we get into it, generically, Massachusetts tends to get high marks for its gun laws. Would you give Massachusetts high marks?
Very high marks.
Very high marks.
I will tell you that Massachusetts is ranked as, by some, as the top state when it comes to the gun violence control.
We're showing you this.
We're very, very proud.
We're showing you this is assault-style rifles, the same kind used in Newtown, and our Phil Lipoff got a breakdown. Is exactly Newtown and Orlando, and hanging on the wall of the gun shop in Holliston, President and CEO of Mass Firearms School, Stephen Hathaway, says the ban is all about cosmetics and nothing else. Listen.
This is an assault weapon. This is not.
These both fire the same way.
Fire the same exact way.
Same caliber?
Same caliber, same thing.
Now, that's his point. You know, we may have a ban on assault rifles, but yet it's simply a cosmetic move. Simple shift in one area. You don't have a place you can lock a bayonet on another end, and a little click. So, to his argument, it's cosmetic and nothing else, you would say?
Having seen that, I'm concerned about it. And I will tell you this, one of the things that we have just done in the legislature, which was started in the House, was to take a look at our gun safety laws and to make sure to see, how is it that the law is working, and was anything missed? Should anything be added? And having seen that, I think maybe there might be something we want to take a look at.
That kind of addresses the next thing I was going to ask you. Is there anything Beacon Hill can do from this end to tighten the flow of guns into the state? And one of the things you just said is that you are reviewing the law to make sure that it is indeed.
The major problem we have in terms of gun flow into the state, quite frankly, is the lack of action at the federal level.
Right.
If you were to talk to all the attorney generals that I've ever dealt with, you know, they will tell you until we can get some control nationwide over guns, then, you know, we're going to have difficulties here in Massachusetts in terms of illegal guns flowing into the Commonwealth. Although we have provided greatly in terms of who can't and what hurdles the person has to go to get a gun here in Massachusetts. If other states don't have those same type of regulations, then we have some difficulties.
Let me just ask you, do you own a gun?
No.
You do not own a gun. Okay.
No.
Would you like to add the no-fly list and terrorist watch list to the list of the list that gun sellers would have to take a look at before they could make a sale of any sort of a weapon, any kind of a weapon here in Massachusetts?
I would, and I think it was Representative Ehrlich has made that proposal to the members of the House. But I would, and I know that there are some folks who will say, well, you know, some folks are on that list that shouldn't be on that list, and so on and so forth. I think, you know, those folks will have the opportunity to make their case to whatever authority to get off of that list. But until that's done, I think in this day and age, where we are seeing these massive shootings, you know, occur. I almost want to say on a weekly to bi-weekly
Newtown,
basis.
San Bernardino, Orlando, Florida.
Well, we used to talk about these things maybe once every 6 months, once every year, you know, the horrifying events. And then we said, oh, okay, it happened in Newtown. It's not going to happen, you know, for a while. And that's baloney. I mean, now, whether you're on a college campus, a theater, I mean, a mall, any place where large masses of people tend to congregate, you know, seem to be the places where these terrible things are taking place.
This past week, two of the members of our congressional delegation, Seth Moulton and Catherine Clark, they walked out of the House saying that we're not going to stay here for moments of silence anymore because silence is not helping. We have to pass legislation. Did they do the right thing? Did they perhaps dishonor some of the victims and their families by doing that?
Well, we did the same thing in the House, and I had certain members express the concern to me, and as I told them and they understood, this isn't Washington. We've done something here, as opposed to what is going on in Washington, and they had stated, as a matter of fact, at one of our caucuses how proud they were to be from Massachusetts, that they could look everyone in the eye and say, we've done something.
So you
about
support
gun
the fact
safety.
that they walked out?
I think that's up to their individual, you know, conscience. I look at it more as just showing respect for those who were tragically killed, but, you know, if that's where they felt they should do, then I would have no problem with that.
Next topic that I want to touch on, Senator Elizabeth Warren. If she is picked by Hillary Clinton for vice president, should Massachusetts leave its laws as is, which would allow the governor to pick her replacement until election is held, or should there be a change?
I'm not interested in making any further changes. We've done so twice already. I'm not interested in doing it again. Not twice under my speakership, by the way, but I'm not interested.
Leave it exactly the way it is, which would allow the governor to appoint someone, and then there's a special election within a time period.
Correct.
Right. It's time now for the OTR Pop Quiz.
Well,
and you get, see, here's the thing.
Oh, no.
wait a
I'm
minute.
waiting to hear
You get the special one. I keep yours in here.
I can't wait to hear this.
See, now that's not right. Okay, first of all, that's not right. Secondly, as you know, I'm going through quite a bit of pressure trying to control this budget gap, which you alluded to earlier.
Please. Oh, please.
Go ahead.
As a result of that,
Yes.
you know, I'm not sure if I'm as sharp as I should be.
Yeah. You're very
I
sharp.
compare it to a performer. When a performer has a sore throat or whatnot, they don't perform.
Yeah.
Am I
No.
correct?
The show must go on.
So therefore, you know, I'll do it if you insist.
Do you have a note from your doctor?
But I just, despite my excellent record in answering these questions.
I thought for sure you were going to pull the Father's Day card today.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was expecting from you, quite frankly.
Auden said, Papa.
Don't take part.
All right, question one. As we all know, Elizabeth Warren and Donald Trump have been engaging in a Twitter war for months. Name just one of the pejorative nicknames that Trump has for the senior senator from Massachusetts.
Pocahontas.
And Goofy, Pocahontas, either one we would have accepted. This may be a hard one. What is the most retweeted message from Hillary Clinton's Twitter account to Donald Trump? What is the most retweeted message?
It just happened within
from
the last
Hillary Clinton's Twitter account to Donald Trump.
Oh, I don't know.
Delete your account.
Oh.
We continue on the record with the speaker, who's 1 for 2, by the way. He's batting .500, which is better than Manny Ramirez ever did.